quick. My name is Shannon.
I'm Sean.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm Jeremiah.
So, general overview of our project, it's called SmartAdvising. We were inspired by the advising system that's currently in place in the computer science department, and we just wanted to streamline the way that works because as of right now, it's not very efficient. We just wanted to make it so that students weren't held hostage, so to speak, in the waiting room while waiting on their advising appointment. This term, during the first week of the semester, I personally had to wait in line for 4 hours, which was a lot. Other students experienced the same thing. So we just want to make it so that students can go to class or do whatever they need to do. So like, I'm doing the web app. So far, I have pretty much all of the front end stuff done. I need to work on connecting with the back end for the virtual queue, like the waiting room, and also finishing up the login and authentication with Outlook. So as of right now, I haven't finished that part. That's pretty much it right now.
So for the iOS app, what has mostly been done is the login page, and so for the login, there was a lot of work that had to be done with talking to the backend and authenticating through Outlook using their API and saving the user's information on the core data and on the iPhone, and detecting when first launches to display the login page, and also being able to log out of the app. So so far I've pretty much been doing all of the login stuff, and that's pretty much it for iOS.
Okay, so the Android version of the SmartAdvising pretty much has all the things Cameron said, except that for our project right now, the Android app, users can like log in, and they should be able to see two different tabs, the home tab and the FAQ tab. And in the home tab, users can hit a profile button, and like a pop-up will show up, and users can either exit out the pop-up, log out or exit, and the pop-up has their like information displayed, or should have their information displayed, and that's what's happening with the Android app so far.
And for the backend, so the backend is in a pretty good state. It's all set up with the API running on AWS Lambda. I wrote it in Python 3, and it uses a framework for APIs called Falcon. And all that is connected to a MySQL database running on AWS called RDS. And there's a API server in between AWS Lambda and the three front-end clients that connects it, called API Gateway. So that's all set up so the clients are now able to query and change data in controlled ways on the server and interact with that data. And as far as the virtual queue goes, the virtual queue, the functions for enqueuing someone into the waiting line and removing them or dequeuing them has been written, but it hasn't been tested. So once the clients are connected to the API, then testing will be good with that. What sort of changes in scope of the project we've had so far? The first one was fairly major. It was changing from the scope of the app going just from computer science at FSU to all majors at FSU. And so we've collected data on all the different advisors for each major at FSU. And so we want the app to be able to support any student in any major being able to use the app and go to their advisor with this data.
Yes, and what else we've changed is because we've also geared towards changing it for only supporting computer science department, we also have in mind of scaling it for other universities. And because of this, we have changed our authentication system from previously we had planned on using MyFSU, and so what the user would have to do is log into the MyFSU, and we would be able to get their information, like who is their advisor, what's their major, if they're undergrad or graduate. But we've changed this to using Outlook, so it uses Outlook service, and this way we can verify if a student belongs to that university, and in the future if we add more universities, we can just use their authentication system. And yeah.
So another big thing we've changed is previously we had users sign into a queue and it'll list the information of the other users in the queue. Well, we found that that might have some security and privacy risks. So instead, we're just going to have the user know their position in the queue and have the user being able to add themselves or take themselves from the queue without having to look and see the information of the other users that are in the queue. So,
For the next iteration, I'm planning on finishing up the Outlook authentication for users logging into the system. Actually, for the website, there is separate authentication for for students and for advisors. So that's something that's not in the apps. I also am just going to be working on like making sure that everything works with the backend, because like at this point I mostly have like just the HTML, CSS stuff covered. So I need to like link that up with the database and stuff and like make it work. That's it.
Yeah, so for iOS, for the next iteration, my goal is to connect more to the API. So right now we have a login that's connected to the API doing GET requests and POST requests, but the next is just connecting to the queue and displaying the queue and being able to add your stuff into the queue, remove, and also the FAQ page. So mostly connecting more to the backend.
and for the Android version, it's pretty much the same thing as Cameron, except I just need to be able to save the users like school, major, and undergraduate or graduate information too. So everything Cameron said is pretty much like all that I have to do too. All that I have to do too.
Yeah, and for the API, the real last changes that need to be made are really just debugging, making sure that the client's not having any errors when trying to use the API, and that the queuing system works correctly, and that there's no errors with many clients trying to use the queuing system all at once. So that'll left to be tested. So.
And push it.
Oh, and the last feature in addition to that is push notifications. So Apple and Google have services to allow push notifications directly to the phone. And so we will be able to notify students about something like a change in their position in the queue, or they got removed from the queue, or something happened. We'll be able to notify them about that information.
That's it.
Hey guys, so this is an example of the advising app. So right now we're looking at the sign-in page. As you can see, if we click sign in, it'll bring up the little menu for users to sign in with their school email accounts. All right, see we have like the two different views, the waiting room and the FAQ. Right now we only have the profile button working right now. So what the profile button should have is like the user's information, the email, school, major, advising level, and all that other stuff. What they can do for right now is close the window, exit, and then log out. And if you log out, it'll just send you back to the main page. And so that's what we have for right now for the Android app. All right, thanks.
Hello, so for the iOS app, what we have completed is the login screen connected to the API. So for example, you would click here school and it loads this from the API. And as you can see over there, it did another GET request. So we got all the majors here at FSU. So I'm gonna select computer science, and then you select your year. So year undergraduate or graduate. So I pick undergrad and then I log in, and it uses Outlook's API, and you get to log in, and it'll save everything to core data on the phone, and it'll log you into the app where it will display here. And if you click the profile button, it'll fetch everything from the core data. So it says like email, your major, your year, and your school. And if you want, you can log out and it'll delete all the information that it has, and you get to like sign in again. So you can like change your major, use something else, and do graduate and log in. And after you log in, once everything is saved, you can also exit out the app. And when you open it up again, it won't display a login because it sees the data has been saved.